What's going on, everybody? Welcome in to the Performance Medicine Show. We're going to let some people show up. I see Roel's here in the building. What's going on, Roel? Hope everything down in Texas is wonderful. Thank you for bringing your friend last week. I hope that was helpful. But gosh, guys, thank y'all for hanging out with me and Andy last week. We got Doc back in the building. This week, we're going to have Andy regularly on the show, which we're excited about, coming up with different formats and things of that nature. But what will not change is Tuesday at 7, we're going to be here answering your health and wellness questions. I see people are coming in. Jack, what's going on, man? Great to see you. So good to see everybody. Doc will be here in just a couple minutes to answer questions. We're going to be doing this all hour long. My grandmother, Mary, how are you? Hello to everybody over at the Blake. You guys got a really cool challenge that I want to talk a little bit about tonight, which is going to be fun. Barbara, what's up? D-Lynn, hello. Robin, what's going on? Terry, so good to see everybody. Thank you guys for saying hello. If you're with us live, say hello. Let me know you're in the building. If you have a question for Doc, go ahead and put that in the comments as well. We're going to get to every single question. As always, we're going to get to every single question. And as you guys know, Performance Weekly is our weekly email newsletter. If you guys want to sign up for that and get everything in your email inbox on Tuesdays, we send it out around 3. All of our best stuff goes there. And this week was a fantastic week. And what's so funny is we didn't realize how many people were talking about this topic. So this is taurine, the anti-aging amino acid. There was a study done recently. It recently came out. The study's been going on, I believe, for the last 10 years. And the study recently came out, or an article about the study came out. And you know, speaking as a novice here, taurine is pretty awesome. And Doc talks a lot about the health benefits of taurine in this episode of the Common Sense MD. We wrote an article about it. So definitely, I mean, we ended the article saying, you know, man, this is one that you might want to think about adding to your regimen. And we have some vitamin questions tonight, you know, about like what's really necessary, what's not. So it'll be kind of fun to get Doc's thoughts on taurine, as you know, I know he's taking it now, and maybe he has for a while. But look up taurine, guys. It's super, super interesting. On Explain This, we had sugar stats. You guys know on Explain This, the start of the show, Robin Riddle kind of breaks things down for you. And it's one of my favorite shows to do, because she just lays it out in a way that is it's sequenced, it's understandable. This one was on sugar, and basically sugar's in so much. And she breaks down, you know, what the guidelines are from the CDC, from the AHA, what we're actually consuming, how much sugar we're actually consuming. It's more than you might think. So definitely check that out. Learn more about sugar. Sweet. Jack got some taurine this week. That's awesome. We'll talk about taurine tonight. Lisa, thank you so much for sharing. Thank you for being here as always. Dive into diet with our nutrition coach, Lucas Schmidt. Lifestyle tips for gout. We talk about gout attacks. You know, what foods that you want to eat to prevent gout attacks, and what ones you want to avoid. Gout's a tough one, man. That's kind of what I got out of this episode was, you know, gout is tough, and anything you can to prevent these attacks is well worth the effort. Lucas does a great job of breaking this down kind of to things that you can do with things in your house. Like, it's not even so much supplements as much as it's nutrition. The big one was like staying away from alcohol, and speaking of sugar, staying away from things like sugar. So really, really pumped about that episode. I hope you guys get a ton out of it, especially if you know somebody that deals with gout on a regular basis. My brother Steve is in the building. Hello, sir. Great to see you. Let's see here. Deborah, what's going on? I don't know if I told Steve. I talked with Steve Monday. I played golf this weekend, and Steve's a big time golfer. He's regularly in the 70s and 70s, 80s. I think I know you shot in the 70s this past week, but I played golf Saturday, and I'm not shooting that. We played best ball, and that was extremely helpful. Guys, if y'all are close to any one of our offices, you know that it is Father's Day week, and we run specials all week long. Happy early Father's Day to everybody, including my own, who's in the green room putting on his makeup. I got a little smile out of him in the green room. Happy early Father's Day, guys. We're running specials all week, and all of our locations, of course, talking Kingsport, Johnson City, Bristol, Fountain City, which is where I'm recording from, in our West Knoxville office, out closer to Farragut. We're inching our way out there. So definitely, if you're even if you're not, take advantage of these specials. And I got to do this because I love this one. Amber might even be in the building tonight. Amber Van Cleve is our brand new injector in Knoxville. She's serving patients in West Knoxville as well as Fountain City. And we're running a little special. You can see it right there, little coupons. I love this quote down there, look as good as you feel, from Amber. But if Amber's here, say hello, Amber. I love you. I hope you're wonderful. Isla, Ava are regular listeners of the show, her twins. So thank you, Amber. We're really excited about this. We're expanding our medical aesthetic practice here in Knoxville, where I'm at, which I'm excited about. All right, we're going to get to the show, guys. If you have questions for Doc, go ahead and put it in the comments, and we're going to get rocking. Doc, you ready?
Yeah.
What's going on, man?
Not much I can say. You have the gift of gab. I'll tell you that much. You've got it. I wish I had it.
I made you
How's
smile.
my makeup look? How's my makeup look?
It looks great. It looks great. You guys don't realize the amount of time that's put into this look right there. You're seeing there on your screen.
This doesn't come easy.
No,
it really doesn't.
No. He is well prepped for the show. How was your day, man?
Before we get going, it was great. I wanted to shout out to Anthony,
okay,
who makes guitar picks, and this is my favorite one.
Okay,
Anthony's watching. I love this thing, and then he sent over some of this thing right here because it's called Picker's Grip, and you put it on your pick, and that way your pick doesn't fly out of your hand when you are strumming hard. Sometimes I get into it and I really get going hard on it, jamming kind of.
Yep.
And it would fly off sometimes, but this stuff's awesome. Thank you, Anthony. Amazing.
That's awesome. Anthony, if you're here, say hello. He has the best picks. It's incredible. I've played with some of them when I'm at your house, and I'll be there this weekend. So I don't even know. You've kind of, when an athlete kind of separates themselves from their peers.
Yeah.
I feel like over the last year or two, you've really separated yourself from me in the guitar world. I feel like there was a time where we were kind of like together in a way. I had, I feel like I have, maybe a little more natural rhythm than you. And
definitely. You definitely do.
You can play more things, and now your rhythm is better than mine. I just feel like you've separated from me.
Because I learned you have to do one thing. You have to practice.
It does take that.
Yes.
It takes practice. But we're looking forward to getting into the show. I see Rhonda's got a question there about ADHD. Thank you for that, Rhonda, over on YouTube. We had a great question on ADHD last week too. Big shout out to Andy. Andy did I know you watched some of the show last week. Andy did a phenomenal job.
He did a great job. It's going to make my job obsolete, but we're going to bring Andy in once a month.
Yep.
And for right now, and maybe more than that, because he's really good.
I love it just because I love, one, there's different perspectives. He might explain something a little differently than you, even though the philosophy is the same, and, it's going to connect with somebody. So, and that's what we're trying to do here on the
Well,
show.
he's way smarter than me, way better looking, way more personable. So, I mean, I don't know. I don't think I have any advantages over him except age, experience, maybe. That's the only thing. Maybe.
Which is a big deal, and that's one of the reasons why I love this format with you, just because you can go back into the 37, 38 years of experience as not only a family doc but also an integrative functional doc, and that's where we're going to start. We're going to start with questions if you're ready to roll.
Great, I'm ready. Let's do it.
This is one. This came in, and I think they'd be okay with this. This is a female, just to give you some context. The question is, I started on hormone replacement, LDN and semaglutide in February. Just recently, which is the last 3 weeks, I've been experiencing uncomfortable, sweaty feet. This is something that has never been an issue in the past. Could this be a side effect from any of those medications? Again, she started those all three, I guess.
So LDN, yeah, it could be. My best guess is the hormone replacement. Because when you have a little bit of testosterone, a little or a lot, you can sweat more. There's no doubt about it. That's probably that. Usually it kind of settles down after you've been on it for a while. And, like with anything, you got to balance the benefits versus possible side effects. Excuse me. But yeah, I bet it's a little bit of testosterone in your hormone cream that's doing it. If it's too much, again, I would recommend that after a month or two of being on it, we check the levels and we'll see where you're at. And you may even be converting a little bit more to DHT, dihydrotestosterone. We can check that level and kind of balance it out. But yeah, probably the hormone replacement therapy, I would guess.
And you're saying one, because as you increase your testosterone, you're more likely to sweat more.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the way you're saying, it's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just kind of a, part of it.
No, sweating is a good thing, but if it's your feet and it bothers you, then definitely look at it. I've even had some people say they have a little bit more body odor with higher doses of testosterone. So that's probably my best guess. So come in and get some levels and we'll make some adjustments and go from there.
I'm going to put this up from Barbara. I agree, Barbara. He is selling himself short tonight.
I don't think so. But thank you, Barbara. Thank you. It's good to see you this week. Barbara always looks great.
That's awesome.
Wonderful person. She's one of our favorites. She does not like to look at her blood. She's like me. When I get blood checked, I do not like to look at my blood being drawn. I look over the other way.
What's funny?
And I noticed Barbara was doing that.
Whenever there'll be times where I'm in one of the offices and I'll walk and out of the corner of my eye I'll notice somebody's getting blood drawn and I'll just turn the other way. Shout out to all of our phlebotomists who are incredible. It's I'm not one that loves getting my blood drawn and they're incredible with me.
We've got some great ones.
Let's see here. I love this question. One, because we recommend, a ton of vitamins. And the question is the cost of vitamins and supplements is always challenging. Are there certain vitamin supplements that can be taken every other day or less often in general instead of daily? I'll go ahead and say they gave some examples, maybe ones like quercetin, krill, or even the B, C's, D's, etc.
Yeah, I think that's fine. I kind of like quercetin. I take that when I'm not feeling well, which is kind of rare, really. If you take the other vitamins, you're going to feel pretty good all the time. I usually recommend you take your vitamins 6 days a week. You're probably going to forget about them anyway, 1 day a week. And the ones you really shouldn't skimp out on, you're right, are the fat soluble ones, especially vitamin D. I mean, D with K is your best supplement you'll ever take. So, try not to skip out on that one too much. My next favorite vitamin is probably krill. Again, you can get by with eating more fish if you want to do that. And the days you eat fish, you could skip that one if you want. But you're right, they do get expensive. That's one reason I kind of compound my own vitamins, and like my super vitamin has a bunch of stuff in it that's it's high potency, great. It has all the heavy hitters in it, um, except it doesn't have magnesium. Now, magnesium, I like to take that at night. That's a real important one too. Probably number three on my list. So, um, but yeah, I mean, if you want to take your multivitamin every other day, you probably could, but make sure that you get your D, magnesium, and either take your krill, which I like better than fish oil, or eat fish on that day. So, yeah, I mean, vitamins get expensive. The older you get, the more you need. So, just like the podcast, if anybody saw it today on taurine, that's one I've been taking for a while. Out of all the supplements, out of all the good things in your body that goes down, like your naturally produced hormones and like melatonin goes down, um, taurine goes down more than any of them, like by 80%. So and it's really in the news. It's funny, since I did that podcast or started researching taurine, everybody's talking about it now. It was probably because of that study that came out, um, about how beneficial it was in longevity. So if you haven't read that, go to the one today on taurine. That's just another one you need to think about. Um, but anyway,
Yeah, it does seem that you really do need to kind of weigh some of these things out. I think it's kind of helpful, to try, things one at a time. You're big on adding things one at a time, and I'm totally with you there on there's the certain ones that you want to keep in your daily regimen. But it's an interesting question because we talk a lot about vitamins.
yeah.
So thank you for sending that in there. I see Ashley's here from Mooresville, North Carolina, Allison's daughter-in-law. Thank you. Thank you for hanging out. And thank you, Allison, for sharing the podcast. Velma's in here. Velma, great question on krill oil. Guys, if you do have a question for Doc, go ahead and put in the comments. We're going to get to that in just a couple minutes. This kind of is, one that you have already answered, but I'll put it up here just in case somebody missed it.
Yeah.
Is it good to skip vitamins one day a week on a regular basis?
I think it is. Yeah, you can get tolerant to anything. So that's a good rule of thumb. Just like if you're on hormone creams, if you're a woman on hormone creams, you skip Sunday night on them. Skip one day a week on them.
All right. Thank you for that question. All right, we're going to get into a Botox question. We've answered quite a few Botox questions on this show, and this is one I have not seen before. So I'm pumped to hear your answer here. Does dry eye from Botox around the crow's feet typically go away after the Botox wears off? What is dry eye? What do they mean by that?
This means you're not producing as much tearing. You're not tearing as much. Again, dry eyes are very common. I have it. And there's a few things that help. The main one is omega-3s. So I think that really helps a lot. Xanthan's another supplement that I think is really good for eye health overall. But yeah, I've seen it a few times. It's rare that you get dry eye from Botox around the eye. I have seen it rarely, but yeah, it's going to go away if that's the cause of it. And again, if there's another cause, it won't. But if it's some Botox, it's going to wear out. And that's why you need to get repeated Botox. Usually it lasts for about 4 months.
And I'll put this context up. I should have added this at the beginning. It seems that they've gone to a reputable provider and done it, and it's never happened before. So it seems this is the first time that this has happened.
Yeah. It's interesting if it happened bilaterally or just on one side. That'd be an interesting question to ask you, but interesting. So Botox takes about 5 days to kick in. So 5 days after your Botox, if you had a dry eye, and it'd be interesting to see how many units, if you got more units around the eye than usual, or, maybe a little placement was a little closer to the eye. possible. But interesting question.
Great Botox
Interesting.
question there.
If you got it in a vessel, if you if you
Yeah.
had a lot of bruising, if you somehow got it in a vessel, when I shoot Botox, I have to be real careful about shooting around the crow's feet area because a lot of people are pretty vascular there. So you really got to watch out for poking a blood vessel there.
Thank you for that answer. Great question there, guys. I see WC1A. Thank you. New subscriber, new viewer. Thank you for being with us tonight. Great question on methylene blue. I love the methylene blue questions. Chantel's here. Thank you so much, Chantel, for that question. Caitlin, I see your question. Linda, what's going on, Linda? Great to see everybody. All right, let's see. We got one more here. And I'm really glad this was asked because I was actually talking to somebody about PRP today. I have heard and read that PRF, platelet-rich fibrin, is considered to be even more effective than PRP, platelet-rich plasma. Do you think so? I'll be honest, I have no idea what platelet-rich fibrin is. So
yeah, I know what it is. The first time I ran into it was at our conference in Florida a few weeks ago. There was a vendor that was promoting it, and it may be better. It's kind of a newer thing, but it's a little bit different than platelet-rich plasma. You still are getting platelets, but apparently, from what they told me, again, I don't have any experience in shooting the PRF, but it may be the new way to go. Supposedly, you get more platelets off of it, and it forms more of a gel-like substance than the PRP. So it's thicker. They don't put that anticoagulant in it when they spin it down. So it may be even cheaper. The expensive part of PRP is the centrifuge, the stuff you have to use with it. So you probably get more stem cells out of it than you do, and more platelets. So it may be, I've heard it being used more for dental procedures and cosmetic than I have in joints, but I know that they're using it in joints as well. So that stay tuned on that one. And supposedly it may even be cheaper to do it that way. But certainly that's a great question and something that I've just recently become aware of. So I'm certainly going to query a lot of my orthopedic friends that like PRP and see what they think about it and see how available it is to get, which is available because it's in your arm. But whether you have to get a new centrifuge or I'm sure it requires a different kit. But, and speaking of dentistry, I want to thank Dr. Creech for being on our podcast last week and what she's done for me personally, because I'm already showing a lot of improvement in my mouth. So she did that test on me, testing the bacteria in my mouth. And so I'm very grateful. That was a great podcast. If you read it and got some out of it, go listen to it. Because we talked for like 45 minutes, I think, on the various things about dentistry. And she's really up on her stuff.
I'll be honest. I really enjoyed that conversation. It was super practical. It was very clear to me that you both were very like functional, progressive, and looking at prevention. So I'd encourage anybody to listen to that. It changed my one. I mean,
did you make an appointment yet to get your teeth cleaned? Like I told you to.
I'll have to tell you.
You didn't do it, did you? You didn't do it.
Everybody who's with us live tonight, ever since we've had Dr. Creech on twice over the last month or so, because we've been super focused on oral health, and I will say just give you a little insider knowledge. Dad, this is my dad, has been on me. I want to say multiple times a week to get back in the dentist. I think you said, or maybe she said that cardiologists go to the dentist like every 3 months. And I'm definitely not on that sort of cadence.
Yeah. One that I know. Yeah. Big on heart health for oral health, but yeah, get to the dentist.
I need to get to the dentist. Thank you, Dr. Creech, for coming on the show. That was really, really a fun episode. And It's amazing how important oral health is to your overall health. So that does it for the questions that came in throughout the week. Thank you guys for, whether it was email or through Instagram or Facebook, thank you guys for sending those in. We're going to get to some of these live questions. I see Linda's got one. Thank you. That's awesome. Barbara's encouraging me to go to the dentist. Agreed. I need to get there. All right, we're going to go ahead and get started here, guys. We'll start with Rhonda on YouTube. Is there a natural way to help ADHD in adults, and something natural to help you sleep as you get older? I'm taking magnesium and saffron. What's your thoughts on this?
Yeah, the natural supplement for ADHD is L-tyrosine. That's my favorite. I think it helps a lot. It's interesting that you're having sleep problems. Of course, as we get older, we definitely have sleep issues. I certainly do. And I think I blamed it on all those years of taking call, going back to the hospital in the middle of the night and getting out of those circadian rhythms. But people that have ADHD don't sleep well. And when you give them a stimulant, they sleep better. Isn't that ironic? That's kind of how you can tell somebody has ADHD. You give them a stimulant and they calm down. They calm down when they drink coffee. That's why a lot of people with ADHD get by drinking coffee, and they can drink it at night and sleep better. But I like L-tyrosine for that one. And of course, magnesium, I love at night. Neuromag's my favorite. Saffron's a great, I love saffron as an herb or spice. It's really a spice, but it is a great adaptogenic medication, herb or spice. It just calms you down. But I would add and take the L-tyrosine in the morning. And one thing you may want to do to complement that is take L-tryptophan at night. That's a good complement for people with ADHD. L-tyrosine in the morning, L-tryptophan at night. But certainly continue taking your magnesium, saffron, and there's all kinds of other stuff you could try for sleep. You've probably tried melatonin, I'm sure. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't work. But there's always GABA. There's all kinds of stuff you could try. So interesting. Yeah, try those.
I'm going to put this up here from Ashley. Speaking of the ADHD, I've also heard that L-tyrosine combined with acetyl L-carnitine for ADHD. What are your thoughts on that combo?
Yeah, I do like that. L-carnitine is a really good supplement. If you have a really high TMAO level, which is a blood test that has to do with really gut bacteria, you may not do well with extra L-carnitine, which you get L-carnitine also, of course, in meats and eggs. But I certainly think that may be something to try for. And you can still take L-tryptophan at night. But it's a lot of athletes and people that work out a lot take L-carnitine, and that's a really good supplement. So very good point.
Thank you for that, Ash. I'm going to put this up here from Fabian. Flossing is more important than we think. Totally agree. Wife coming from hygienist in the family. Thank you for that, Fabian. I believe from
Definitely.
Texas. Thank you for hanging out with us, Fabian. All right, let's get to the next one here. See if I'm. There we go. Walking moments. What is the best supplement for sore, stiff muscles and sore joints?
I would say it was taking moments to walk.
There we go.
Ironic, walking moments. I love that.
I love that.
Yeah, of course, motion is the best lotion. But as far as supplements go, I like curcumin, which is, just a fancy spice, an Indian spice. But that's what I take twice a day. I just took one. As you get older, you're going to get stiffer. I mean, it's just a fact of life. Make sure you hydrate. But curcumin is my favorite. I love curcumin. I take it every day, twice a day. And I think hands down, you could try some other stuff like glucosamine. And MSM, I don't think glucosamine really helps a lot, but if it has MSM in it, it really helps. Chondroitin maybe, and of course, I like collagen supplements. I take keto collagen, which I like, but curcumin, which is turmeric, um, is the best. So great question. And then work your muscles out. I use various things to rub my muscles out with. I'll use a stick. It's called the stick. It's right over there in my workout room. And a foam roller. I use those and try to get some of that lactic acid out of there. But I hope that helps you.
Thank you for that question, Walking Moments. Great question, super relevant. Let's get to see. Barbara on Facebook is asking, have you heard of AG1? I believe this is Athletic Greens.
Athletic Greens, yeah. Yeah.
Quick thoughts on that?
I like it. It's a great little supplement. It's not cheap, but has a lot of good stuff in it. It tastes fairly good too. I've certainly taken it in the past, but yeah, it's a great supplement. It has a lot of different things in it. So I'm all for it. If you ever listen to Dr. Huberman's podcast, Atilia, they all love it.
Thank you for that, Barbara. Are people using that Athletic Greens as like a supplement for vegetables?
Yeah, okay. A lot of them are.
Velma's asking, or I believe this is a comment. Okay, this is just a comment. Thank you, Velma. Starting taking krill oil. I heard it's good for fatty liver, which runs in my family. Is this something that you would suggest krill oil for?
Definitely. It definitely helps it. And I like krill oil, like I said previously, over fish oil. I just think it's better. And when we do our Cleveland Heart Panel, we measure the levels of your omegas. We measure the omega-3s, omega-6s, look at the ratios, and it's really good. I saw somebody today that had one of the best ratios I've ever seen of omega-6 to 3s. Just amazing. It's almost 2 to 1. Theoretically, should be 1 to 1. I've never seen that, but theoretically. But yes, definitely. And milk thistle too. That'll help. I like that. And good gut health. Maybe a binder. I like the binders.
All right. Thank you for that, Velma. Let's see here. This is a tough question, but it's something that I know you talk about quite a bit with patients here. And I've got some suggestions. What's your thoughts on this from Caitlin? Question is, do you have any tips or thoughts on how to cope with hopelessness and depression while dealing with chronic illness and doing everything you can to heal, but not getting better yet? This is, being a family doc for as long as you have, I know you've dealt with this. So what's your...
Yeah, at least half of what walks into any primary care doc's office is anxiety, depression. So if you're dealing with a chronic illness, the first thing you have to do is you have to have a positive attitude and try not to focus so much on it. If you can get your mind off of it for periods of time during the day, get outside, get sunshine, walk, have people to talk to. We have Dr. Branca, who's a PhD psychologist that works with us, that certainly helps a lot. And there's some other things you can do that I think really will perk you up. One of them is hormone therapy. If your hormones aren't balanced, and there's certainly, I think, supplements that can help you as well. I love saffron. We talked about earlier. It's been shown in several studies to be more effective for depression than Prozac. It's a natural substance. So, talk to somebody that you trust, whether it's a therapist or, your family, or, and try to stay positive. And if you're dealing with chronic illness, you need to try to get to the bottom of it. I mean, if you can. I don't know what chronic illness you have, but certain chronic illnesses can be very depressing, and it's a multifaceted approach, but certainly you can get better.
Mm.
Um, Never lose hope. Yeah,
This
that's
is
a great. That's a great.
This is from our friend Jamie Winship here. We did an Outside the Box episode. One, I think everybody should watch this episode. I rewatch it regularly. And he talks about hope, where we find hope, things of that nature. Super, super amazing episode. One other thing I'll mention is there was a podcast I listened to with Jamie Winship. It was he was on one recently, and I'll look it up here because I literally listened to it this weekend. And let's see, I'm just going to tell you the podcast it was on because it was a really interesting podcast. Let's see if I can find it. Sorry, guys. I think this is going to be super helpful. The podcast was on. Okay, well, maybe I'm going to have to put a pencil in this and find it for you. Here it is. It's from Deborah Enos, The Role Fear Plays in Cancer and How to Get Out of Fear-Based Thinking. It's actually, I believe she was diagnosed with cancer, and the whole podcast is about why did I get cancer? And it was just super encouraging. And one thing Jamie mentioned that I loved was, anytime you're dealing with like a cancer diagnosis, like, one of the first questions to ask yourself is, do you believe that God or, the universe is for you or against you, or neither, indifferent. And that was kind of the gist of the whole episode. But if you guys want that link, we'll put it in the comments. It was super, super fascinating. So thank you, Caitlin, for teeing us up there. It's such a great question and one that I know that.
Yeah, good luck.
Yeah, we'll be thinking about you. And please come back to the show. And if anything, I think, our big ambition with the show is to offer hope. So please come back. Let's see here from WCA1. WC1A. Hello, Dr. Rogers, new viewer subscriber. Thank you.
Great.
You make sense to me.
I hope it's common sense. Something that's not common sense. Uncommon.
That's like the best line. You make sense to me. Started taking methylene blue. Question: can I trust methylene blue source from India? USP, of course, but have heard horror stuff about India. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, we need to get you the address of the place we get it from, because I'm not sure. Invariably, I think, 80% of medicines come from China. But I've seen a lot of good products come from India. I'm kind of like you, though. If you can get it from the U.S., it's probably a little more stringent guidelines. U.S. good pharmacy practices is what they call it. But I don't know if Katie's listening tonight or not, but if you can find out where we get ours from.
What we'll do is I have the link right here. I'm going to send it. Okay, I do have the link. We'll put the link to the methylene blue in the comments. It'll come from the Performance Medicine handle.
One thing you can do is like we did. We had our dogs sample it first, and
I got to ask WC1A.
It didn't kill them. Yeah, that's what happens when your dog gets in the methylene blue.
I feel like this is why WC1A is a new subscriber. He's like, hey, these guys clearly believe in methylene blue.
Yeah, we don't give it to the dogs, but they somehow get into it occasionally and ruin our carpets and our hardwoods. So, but I hope that's the last. As a matter of fact, they're going to be on the show at the end of the thing tonight because they're back from obedience school. So thank goodness they're back. I don't know that they're that much more obedient or not, but it's kind of fun to watch them do some things. Anyway, I'll try to get them on the show tonight. I love methylene blue. I really like methylene blue.
We'll get you that. It's actually an Amazon link, and this is the one whenever we get emails in regards to this is the link we send. So Hope that helps. Let's get to Chantel here on YouTube. If you have adverse reactions to alpha lipoic acid, what is a natural alternative?
Well, if you're taking it for glucose control, cinnamon is another good one. I like garlic peels too. I think that's a pretty good one too. But yeah, I mean, like I told a patient today, you can have a reaction or not feel good to anything, whether it's a food or a supplement. Everybody's different. Um, so try those and see if they work as good.
Great question there, Chantel. Thank you. I'm going to put this up from Caitlin. Thank you so much. She's has an appointment in August. Amazing. Thank you so much. And I'll make sure I
Good.
put a link to the podcast I'm talking about with Jamie, as well as the Hope one.
Wonderful. I look forward to meeting you. Great.
All right, let's get to let's go to Facebook questions real quick. Let's get to Cindy. Oh, sorry guys. There it is. Thank you guys. That is it.
Good.
That's the podcast. It's not a link, but it's a picture of it. Thank you so much, team, for putting that in there. Let's see here. Cindy's asking, how much berberine do you take for appetite control and how many times a day? Any side effects? What's your thoughts on this?
Twice a day. Berberine is pretty standard. You take it twice a day. And I even had one patient today told me they took it 3 times a day. They could not tolerate metformin. And so they're actually taking berberine 3 times a day with no GI side effects. I have seen berberine cause metformin-like loose stools, but that's probably the only side effect I've seen with it. It's very safe. There was an article that I saw that I think we shared, Ben, that there was a title, "Is Berberine the New Ozempic?" And which it isn't, but it's a good article. But Berberine's a great supplement. Most of us are a little bit insulin resistant, and that's what you take it for. But it also has favorable effects on your blood pressure, your cholesterol. Berberine's an awesome supplement for people that have metabolic syndrome, meaning, increased waist size, abdominal adiposity, hypertension, diabetes or prediabetes, and hyperlipidemia, and especially high triglycerides. Take it a couple times a day. I think you'll do fine with it.
Did you say, is there side effects? Did you say that?
I say you could have a GI side effect.
Okay.
It could cause loose stools, but that's rare.
Okay. All right. I hope that helps, Cindy. Let's go back over to YouTube here. Kind of going back and forth. I think Jack. There we go. Jack, thank you so much, man, for being here. Love seeing your name in the comments. I'm a normal weight and I'm on keto. I am struggling with nighttime eating. I eat normally during the day. I'm waking up in the middle of the night starving. Interesting. What could be causing this?
It may be keto itself. Some people get on keto and they have a hard time staying on it because they start craving carbs, especially if they eat a little carbs. So again, it's very hard for people to stay on keto. I like intermittent fasting, and for healthy men, when they do intermittent fasting, they can probably get by with, a 12-hour eating cycle, 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. But if you really can't stand it, just eat a little protein at night before you go to bed. You may be insulin resistant. You may be having a kind of a Somogyi effect that we see in diabetics, or your sugar gets low in the middle of the night, as opposed to the dawn phenomena when your cortisol kicks up and you get high in the early morning. So it may be a Somogyi effect. You may be insulin resistant, and that, berberine may be a good alternative for you there, or an option. But try to ease up on the keto. I love keto. I think it's great for many, many conditions, including cancer. I saw a new cancer patient today, and I immediately put her on keto. We're going to do some IV vitamin C. But and she wants fenbendazole as well and artemisinin. So we're going to do all that. But see, if look, play around with your hours, maybe, eat a little more, and instead of keto, just eat low carb if that's happening since you got on keto. And if not, look at the intermittent fasting hours and, maybe eat a little protein before you go to bed at night. See if that doesn't keep you from bottoming out. Or the other thing you should do really is get a Freestyle Libre, which is a continuous glucose monitor you put on the back of your arm, and it tells you what your sugar's doing 24 hours a day, every 5 seconds. So if you're bottoming out in the middle of the night, in the morning, you could look at your glucometer and say, hey, I was at 60 or I was at 50 in the middle of the night. You're insulin resistant.
That's interesting. I hadn't heard that at night because, one thing we talk a lot about with intermittent fasting is how, building the sleep cycle into your hours fasting because it's just easier. So when you first see that, you think insulin resistance, even though they're on keto?
Yeah. And also think about sleep apnea too. Hopefully you don't have sleep apnea. That's possible. It'd be interesting to see how you wake if you're energetic in the morning. Yeah, try that at night, a little bit of protein.
Jack, keep us posted on that. That's super, super interesting. Thank you for putting that question in. Let's go to Richard here on Facebook. Dr. Rogers, you discussed mitochondrial health a lot. What is your latest recommendation for taking NMN or NR? Why don't you tell us what NMN and NR are?
Those are precursors to, they're supplements that are just precursors to NAD+. It's hard to get NAD+ in a supplement, although I know of one produced locally that works pretty well for energy. But they're just precursors to NAD+, which is very helpful for longevity. They're forms of vitamin B3, niacin. They're just different forms. Again, they're for some reason the FDA is taking NMN off of the readily obtainable supplements from the internet for some reason. I guess because it works, but you can still get it. So I like them both. None of them are going to have the effects that something like rapamycin is going to have on longevity. But yeah, I mean, they do kind of increase mitochondrial health. Mitochondria is that part of the cell that produces energy, but it actually is way more than that. It's the brains of the cell. It communicates with your brain and all your neurotransmitters and all that. It gets complex, but we've had whole weekend conferences on just talking about mitochondrial health. So I like those supplements. They're either one of them. I don't really have a preference. If you read Sinclair or Atia, they all have different opinions of them. But I think they're both good supplements. They definitely will give you energy. And don't give up because you can't find NMN on Amazon. It's still out there. Just go to a good vitamin store.
It's hard to find NMN right now. You're saying this with mitochondrial health. In the podcast today on the Common Sense MD, you talked about taurine also being good for mitochondrial health. Would taurine be something you would recommend as an alternative to NMN if you can't find it?
Yeah.
Or is it completely different?
It works differently, but
Okay.
you can definitely take them both together. But you're obviously thinking about longevity, which I like. We study it all the time, and so I don't really have a preference between those two, to be honest with you.
All right. Thank you for that question, Richard. It's an awesome question. I'm going to put this up from Linda. Thank you, Linda. It's so sweet of you to stop by the JC office. Say hello to the fam over there. Picked up an energy complex, which is interesting because the energy complex, I believe, has PQQ and don't tell me, CoQ10.
Yeah, CoQ10, PQQ. CoQ10 makes your mitochondria pump out more
Oh,
ATP,
there we go.
and
Yeah.
PQQ actually stimulates your cells to make more mitochondria. So another thing I'm probably going to add to that mix, if I can get enough of it in there, is taurine.
Yeah.
I'm going to put it in with my energy complex.
Yeah, taurine is super fascinating. I just got an email with a question about taurine. I'm just going to ask it real quick. Can you take a supplement of taurine daily? Is this a daily thing? I know you said 1,000 milligrams in the podcast.
Yeah,
around.
you can take way more than that. A lot of those studies are done with way higher doses of those in mice and monkeys. But yeah, as a general rule, try to get around 1,000 or close to it as a baseline. But you could certainly, if you're tired, you can certainly go on up to 3, maybe 6 grams of it. But was that the question? Or can you take it daily? Yes, you can take it daily.
And I'm gonna put this up. I love the recommendations in the comments, guys. So anything you guys are seeing is working for you or others. Chantel's putting in here, I recommend avoiding products with quaternary. If I'm messing that up, Chantel, I'm sorry. Quaternary ammonium compounds for mitochondrial health.
I agree. Yeah.
That's awesome. Thank you for putting that in there.
Yeah.
All right, let's see here. Where are we at? All right, well, this kind of piggybacking on the last question, you kind of already answered it, but for Roel, kind of give Roel your 2 cents.
I like it better. They're both precursors to NAD plus. And I think they're great. They're over the counter. I don't know why the FDA is down on NMN, probably because it works. They're both derived from vitamin B3 niacin. So I like them both. I like them both.
All right. Thank you, Roel. Thank you for being here as always. Debbie's asking, what is the best way to cure neuropathy? Neuropathy seems to come up quite a bit on the show. What's your thoughts on that? I'm sure there's
find out what's causing it if you can.
Yeah.
Some of it's idiopathic. We never know what causes it this yet, but you think about diabetic neuropathy, you think about pinched nerves somewhere in your wrist or your back or your neck causing neuropathies. So try to find the cause of it. And if you can't, or you need treatment for it, a natural thing is vitamin B6. You don't want to get more than 100 milligrams of it. It could make it worse, but try to aim between 50 and 100. Just don't go over 100 in it because it could make neuropathy worse. But try to find the root cause. Sometimes we even have to use prescription medicines like gabapentin on it. I prescribed it today. So
this is probably a dumb question, but what are some common root causes of neuropathy? Diabetes would be one.
Yeah, diabetes, pinched nerves.
Okay.
There's some other weird things you could have, like MS and certain neurologic diseases can cause it.
All right. Thank you for that question, Debbie. I'm going to put this up from Lisa. We talked a little bit about this last week. First of all, congrats on being down 43 pounds. That's incredible. I know you've gone down on your insulin as well. It's amazing. The question is, we talked a little bit about with Andy, hitting a plateau and, how do I get over the stall and kind of get back to losing? What's kind of some of your strategies here for Lisa?
Well, yeah, I mean, that's not uncommon. Number one, don't get discouraged because it's normal. Your body's resetting where it's wanting to kind of get to. And sometimes to get over a stall, you have to be even a little more strict about the amount of carbs you eat. And of course, maybe up your exercise a little bit, even though exercise is not a great weight loss tool. But if you're on semaglutide or, Monjaro, then you may want to kick it up or maybe even switch around a little bit from one to the other. Sometimes if people stall out on Ozempic or Wegovy, I put them on Monjaro if you can get it. The problem is getting it,
All right, Lisa, I hope that helps. Keep us posted. Keep us posted with where you're at. I think, there's so many people who go through the same thing.
It's common. It's common.
Yeah. All right, Lisa, thank you so much for that. Let's get to, I think Debbie has a question here. I love this question. I know you love cinnamon. Does
Yeah, it
cinnamon
does
help?
help. Yeah.
Okay.
The two you think about, like we talked about before tonight, alpha lipoic acid and cinnamon are really good, and berberine. Those are three natural things you can do for glucose control.
All right,
Insulin
Debbie.
resistance.
I hope that helps. All right, we're going to be on here a few more minutes. We'll get the pups down to close us out. But if you got any more last-minute questions for Doc, go ahead and put them in the comments. As we're waiting on any more last-minute questions, I want to give a shout-out to my grandmother Mary and the team over there at the Blake who's doing the 90-mile challenge to Knoxville. I'm so pumped about this. I hope we can, all take our own little challenges to, wherever we live. The people at the Blake, they're trying to get to 90 miles around the Blake, and I think they win a trip to Knoxville, which is exactly.
When I first heard about this, I thought they were all going to walk to Knoxville. I really thought that, and I thought, man, that could be dangerous.
That's not safe.
No, that's not safe.
No, 40 and 81 are not.
I've ridden my bike to Knoxville before many years ago, but not walk it.
Have you really?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
How'd you do it? Like, what was
11W, the old
11W.
Mm-hmm.
This is from my brother Steve. Do you reckon snot was the original Picker's grip? And
Steve, I can't answer that. It could have been that or spit, maybe.
I love that, Steve. Thank you.
That's a great comment, Steve. I don't know.
He said it's not funny.
Steve's kind of one of those funny guys,
I love that. I love that, Steve. Thank you for putting that in there. We love you.
He's a little corny, like his good friend is, Chuck.
I love the team over there.
I
Thank
think
you.
Chuck may be more corny than Steve is, though. Do you think? I mean, you've been around them both.
I think Chuck is the best.
I think Chuck is he's what I call corn pone. He's really fun. Oh, here come the dogs, Ben.
He's one of the smartest guys I know. I love Chuck. Thank you, Steve, for being in here.
This is getting heavy.
Look at that. Is that so? Izzy's getting all big. Look at that. Look at that. Izzy's all well behaved, trained.
Izzy's partial to me. Izzy loves me.
What do you think Izzy's going to give us a 10 for the show?
Izzy's going to boost our ratings, I think.
Izzy's going to give us a 10, I think.
Yeah. We may have 20 people watching this instead of 10.
Izzy.
Fabian, thank you for being here 2 weeks. Thank you, man. I really appreciate that. And thank you for your question today. And the comment around oral health. Thank you so much for being here. I believe you're buddies with my good friend Roel over in Texas. Thank you guys for hanging out with us. Look at Ike's just a picture of good behavior.
He is. I mean, have you noticed how much better behaved these dogs are? I think there is a difference.
I think there is. I mean, look at that. Ike, how's it going, buddy?
Yeah.
If you guys don't know, Ike and Izzy just got back from boarding school. They're still getting used to, I guess, the wild. They are well behaved. I do see. I
really
see.
Are. After a few $1,000s, now they'll sit for you. They still don't sleep.
Guys, we love you. Mom, what do you think? You think we're a 10 out of 10 today?
He's asking you think we're a 10 out of 10.
We're a 10.
I think we're a 10. Amber missed Ike and Izzy.
They're back. They're great dogs. They really are. Come here. Ben, I hope you have a good rest of the week. It's beautiful. It's still daylight, so I'm going to go ride my bike.
Get on your bike, man. I appreciate the time. Real quick, I give you a 9.75.
That's pretty good in Olympic circles.
Without the makeup, I would have given you like an 8.5. So the
Yeah,
makeup,
the makeup really helped tonight. I give you a 9.9.
9.9. Okay. Well, Cherry's giving me a 10. D-Len's giving me a 10.5. I love this. I'm getting Jack is giving me a 10.
We're getting good ratings. We're getting
Thank
good
you,
ratings,
guys.
Ben.
Hey, we love you, Steve. My brother's giving me 10. Terry's giving us both a 10.
Oh,
Okay.
Terry.
Look at that. Guys, we love
Thanks,
you.
Terry.
I see Katie's in the building. Katie, I love you. Thank you for everything that you're doing.
Katie probably doesn't give us. Katie gives us bad ratings usually.
No, Katie's giving me a 10. I know that.
Is she-
Katie's giving me a 10.
Is she giving you a 10? Okay.
Yeah. I have no idea if she's watching, but Sherry, I love you.
She's critical.
I miss you. I cannot wait for Sherry to be back in the office. I hope you're recovering. Just know we all love you. I have no idea if you're watching, but if you are, we love you. Thank you, Ashley. Thank you for being here. I love you, Pop. Happy early Father's Day, man.
Love you, Ben. Thank you.
I'll see you Sunday.
All right.
All right. See you guys. My outro, Brad. Brad, where's Brad at? Brad, take it away.
Don't go away.